It's 12:05. I think we've got maybe 15 minutes or so of content. I'm going to leave a little bit of time for QA. So welcome. This is amazing response. We had over 130 registrations, which was pretty amazing to me. So obviously this is near and dear to everybody's heart. That's why we created this webinar. In terms of introductions, my name is Tim Murray. I'm CEO of CINCH CCM. And this is my awesome, lovely wife, Gina, our co-founder. Just real quick background on us. And if you go to Why Cinch on our website, you can really start with our story. We love talking to home care agency owners, leaders, operators like you all. Uh, it was our passion for 6 years. We had a great agency, Where Senior Care. We loved our agency, and we started from ground zero together, private, and then we were acquired by which is now called The Key in December 2020. And along the way, we got into community care and started in 2016, and it was quite an amazing journey. We learned a lot. Our technology didn't really support what we needed to do. I don't know how we did it, why we did it, but we built CINCH CCM during owning the agency at night and our off time. And then we implemented it in April of 2020. And if everybody what was going on then, COVID-19. And it was a blessing. We used WellSky for our traditional, worked great. But we built Cinch to work side by side, and we built a whole methodology to use the two platforms, and it resulted in 33% increase in our revenue. It was steady. We had excellent caregiver recruiting because of the opportunities we give them. It just had a profound game-changing effect on our agency. So today I want to share what we learned along that journey. How do we get into our first community, several communities, what techniques we used for you all to kind of gather in. So just kind of in a flow, it's kind of, we'll start kind of understanding each community because each one is unique. And then talk about building relationships, not only with the property, but a team around you, home health, OTPT, pharmacy delivery, estate planning. It's your circle of support, and go at it as a team. And then I'll talk about some of the things we used both offline and online. And I've shared some of those things in advance that you're welcome to use. And then the last is pearls of wisdom. So getting to it, one of the things that Gina keeps, was in my ear is like every property is unique. And they are. They have a certain brand, whether it's Atria, LCS, Kisco. There's about 200 different properties, and they all have a culture and brand. Learn it, research it. And it starts with talking to the executive directors. So part of your homework is, in my area, who are the independent living communities? And this is not only those apartments, which it seems like you step out your door and there's one right around the corner, but it's the over 55 communities. Del Webb, for example. And then there's apartments like Overture, Greystone. These are all targets where you've got a congregation of people that may need help, but instead of one-to-one, you're taking care of a group. So learn them. And one of the things you want to do is get some intel on costs, especially assisted living, because in the positioning of your services and you're talking to an IL, and the IL may be a standalone IL, meaning that's all it is independent living, or frequently there's IL, assisted living, memory care, and then you have CCRCs, which are continuing care retirement communities. It's like buying in on an all-inclusive cruise. I get in and I'm taken care of throughout the continuum of care. And if it includes skilled, it's kind of all built into that campus. These are all targets for you. Talk to the executive directors. There may be a home care agency in there. There may not. If there is, how are they doing? Any challenges? If there's nobody there, what would you think of this service? And it's all about a positioning of value-based care, of taking care of the residents when they need it to extend their ability to stay. That's really what you're all about. And so moving on, Your message is just that. Speak value-based care, because value-based care is all about person-centric, custom care, quality of life. But the big thing that drives us, our passion based on our agency, our moms, is just helping them. And they want to stay in independent living. I don't think any of us, when we're making our goals and our bucket list, is assisted living or skilled living, you know? So God bless you, because that's the opportunity you have, is to help them. And when you're talking to an ED, that's your message. We're your wingman. I call it assisted independence. And we can help you improve the quality of life of your residents. They stay longer, and guess what? Their census goes up. So I'll emphasize that in one of our. So this opportunity brand, and what I want you to kind of keep an open mind is, yes, we are home care, but in this case, they probably don't, a lot of them don't like to see caregivers in scrubs running around their building or an advertisement on their back. We saw that with one agency. They want your caregivers to be well dressed, to kind of blend. And it's concierge care. It's flex care. It's you come up with a unique branding for your agency to focus on this particular market segment.
Even saying services as opposed to care makes a big difference. So they like services. That's great. I don't need any care. So sometimes it's just the words that you use make a big difference.
Right. You don't want to prepare your intrusive, or it's like we're there, we're Johnny on the spot. We're there if you need us in whatever capacity, walk the dog, help me get down to dining, an errand. There's a host of things. That's why concierge service, I think, is a very good way to kind of brand it. But this is the key. This is what helped us win and stay, is we knew the stakeholders. We met with the stakeholders. In fact, in COVID-19, when we got into our biggest property where we had 93 clients, we had an outdoor meeting at a restaurant, because it was COVID-19, with the executive director and all his key stakeholders. And they fired away. Sales fired at us, wellness fired at us, dining fired at us. I mean, all the stakeholders, they wanted to listen to what we were about and what we could do for the property. And we made a favorable impression, and they gave us a shot. The other stakeholders you want to, when you're looking and researching a community, know who the partners are in there providing care, because you want to buddy up with them. Who is sometimes they select and even have an office, a home healthcare company. In one of our properties, Walter Wood, Beata had a beautiful office in there. And they did home health, part A, B. And we worked together. So when you go into a community, you know who the key people are coming in there. Pharmacy delivery, hospice. You're going to want to work together as a team. And then you can market together as a team. Other things you can do, building trust when you're getting into a community, Gina did this so well, is I had monthly meetings at an executive level with the ED, and he invited key stakeholders, at least monthly. How are we doing? How's the property doing? Anything we can do better? We just got in a rhythm of meetings. So that was me. Gina focused on care. So some of the properties, they have biweekly, weekly care meetings. It depends on the property. You know, some properties, we have one property that the CCRC, it was a social worker, which was the care manager. And we had weekly meetings with her. And Gina did it. And we just said, hey, how are you doing? How are we doing? What families are under care? Um, and we communicated, collaborated. It's a great way of showing you're dialed in, working together.
And it kept problems small because you addressed things before they became big. And you all work together to help that resident. What do they need? Maybe they need more OT and less personal care. And so that's why they loved seeing that we wanted the best for the residents, that value-based care. That was
Yeah.
the big thing.
And you see a link here, and for sake of time, I have to stop and go to another window. But if you click on that ED Wellness Director, it's going to take you to a Kisco property about us, and you can see the entire team. So you can see all the stakeholders, the nice picture, their bio. Really handy when you're doing your research to understand the team on the property. Um, Meet your circle of support. You see wine and cheese. Gina said you probably should have said social. Um, we actually had a monthly social in one of our properties with Legacy and Bayada. We were the circle of support. And we did wine and cheese. One time we did a barista because our admin was a barista. People, seniors, love food. And we'd gather and then they would start marketing for you. Because people will come there saying, I don't really care about where a senior care, but man, they're having some wine and cheese, so I'm going. And then they start talking about, well, I may need care. And you'll find you get stakeholders, residents that you care for, they're so happy with you, they start selling you to their buddies. So a social was a great way. And what we were educating, what does Medicaid cover? What does Medicare cover? If I'm coming back from the hospital, what's covered? We're private pay. So we make clear, so they understand their benefits, what gets sort of paid for and what doesn't get paid for. Um, And then I also had a monthly meeting with the lead salesperson on the pipeline because we found one of the things I want to show you in the next slide is this is what I was talking about our social. We did a quick presentation about, and this was Walton Wood, they were the property, and Walton Wood let Legacy have an on-site office in the property for OT and PT. Bayada came in when they needed to, and then we had a little office in Waltonwood where our caregivers would operate out of. And so we'd have a monthly social and say, just as a reminder, home health, Med A, B, what does that cover? They understood all this. They appreciate it. So from a marketing standpoint, our we were just built around education. People appreciate it. You're marketing yourself, but you're not. You're not giving them cookies. Here's my brochure or stuff like that. You're educating them. And one day they're going to call you. It may be a while, but, and then it spreads. So you become the good guy in the community. You're an educator.
Well, and you're
So
also the person that when they need 24/7 coming back from the hospital, they're calling you. So there's a tremendous amount of traditional care you can also get within the same community because you're on site. They already trust you. You're there, and then you can pare back. They start at 24/7 coming back, and then they can pare back down to the short visits as they improve.
thank you. So I've got a lot of tears, so I gotta move along. But in the sales process, we embedded ourselves. We became an asset. And this piece of collateral, that's actually the colors of the property. They took our our services, created a piece of collateral. It got into their packet for a prospective resident. And when a prospective resident is coming in, they said, you should, if you need a little help, you should get an assessment from our partner now. You may not need it right away, but if you're on service in an agreement, if you need it, you can get it. So you become an asset in the sales process as, oh, you come into this property, if you need help, it was Aware Senior Care. Your mission in marketing, in terms of my recommendation and what we learned, is position yourselves as that value-based care element to the property. And you're there, like I said, to improve quality of life, to extend their ability. And here's our services. So it's not much more medically focused, although you could have part of we had nursing services, medication services, but it's more those little things in life that you need to help you. So that you build this piece of collateral that and how you present yourself is so important. So based on your research, based on their needs, you have your branded program. And this They took this and they kind of built that piece of collateral you saw that you had. So this is templates. We have a consulting service where we saved all our goodies and templates for you. So this is just one example. This is what you strive for. We mentioned in the webinar success stories. They are so important. It's hard to get into that first property. Once you get into that first property and you show results, you show your impact, you then can leverage that in going to other communities. These executive directors, they help each other, they talk to each other. So we got into our first property, we did a great job. They said, we will talk to anybody you want to. We got into our second property. We got into our third property. This was our showcase. This was that 93 client. This is what you hopefully will strive for. A piece of collateral likes like this one, and you can download it and see it. It speaks. You know, First Light Home Care partnered with this property. Together, we improved the quality of the residents' life in independent living. We extended our ability, and the proof point there is this property, we went in, their occupancy rate was 70%. When we exited, fast forward a year and a half later, they were up to 98% and had a wait list. The executive director was sort of eternally just was very grateful to us. And a lot of that was COVID-19 and when we came in at a tough time. But this is what you have this in your arsenal. So get into your first community, do a great job. Things take care of yourself. They become a reference for you. And the references I used for this winning this plea, I sent an unsolicited proposal. They didn't ask for it. I took a risk. And I can show you that. That's part of our toys. And whether you give it to the property or not, it's a great drill for you to see if you've got your act together. Is putting together a proposal, what you can mean to that community. And it's built upon what the executive director expressed to you on what they need.
This property told us they weren't happy with their current one because many times they had their residents coming back from the hospital Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, and the current agency said, well, we can do an assessment on Monday. And I said, okay, I promise you that if you have someone coming home and they need 24/7 care or they need our services, we will come same day. And so we staffed for that. We were always ready on Thursdays. We always had a team meeting. Can we staff at 24/7? Abbott's was going to call us. And we were ready for it. We paid our caregivers more, and you have to charge appropriately for these services to cover those costs. But that's what made us really successful was we never turned down a client, and especially somebody coming home from rehab or the hospital.
Yeah.
We were always there for them.
What's really cool? The local hospitals here in Cary, Wake Med Cary, and we had met many, many times with the discharge planners, and it's tough to get their attention, right? I know you all know that, but they knew we were on a property. They would discharge because that was such an invaluable relationship. But we built it. We partnered with Bayada. Bayada is always there, and they said, "Hey, Mrs. Smith's going to come home to the property. You guys ready?" Yep, we're ready. So it's the discharge planners know you're there. They know your services. They know what you do. The home health companies, again, it's that concept of team. So again, I can keep talking about this stuff um, and my offer while you're all here is if you want to schedule 15, 20 minutes with me, brainstorm on the house, I'm up for it. I'm up for have a chat. Um, Webinars. This is my favorite. Gina knows I love doing webinars. We built the web when we first went into the property. It was Me to Wear Senior Care, and we went on with COVID-19. We had to do it remote, so we did a webinar during the day, and we did one in the evening, and we did multiples for the family members because we all know how ingrained they are in mom and dad and that care. So we did a meet and greet. We could do it on site, and then we had a kind of monthly, maybe two out of a quarter on did you know? Did you know that there's a pharmacy that delivers here? Did you know that they will custom it for you? And you know what? You don't pay for it. It was kind of like, really? You know, we team up and then we team up and do a home health talk. We would do all kinds of topics. You're staying visible, right? You're in their brains and in their hearts. And doing webinars, I love, and I don't know, it wasn't a lot of work. And do like today. This is a great thing. Yeah, we had an e-newsletter. I don't know if you all have it. As we built our database, we called it Be Aware. We were Aware Senior Care. It was fun. We called it Be Aware. And but we had our blogs, we stayed visible. So the properties I wanted to get into, we weren't in there yet. All the EDs and stuff would get this. And we also, you see an example here, we created a Facebook page we called the POA Support Group Facebook page. And this is where we partnered with friends to cover things like estate planning, Veterans Administration. We partnered with bookkeepers. Again, it's just a tactic. It was really cool. And then in the property, we even had meetings once a quarter on the property, bringing in an estate planner, bringing in a VA person. Again, education. Offline, um, please look at the Live Well at Home seminars. I think it's a jewel. You'll see we built this portfolio of all the partner, and our theme was Live Well. So we had Live Well at Home as our base, and then we had Eat Well at Home, Sleep Well at Home, Move Well at Home. And we partnered with experts. And again, it's all about educations. And we did it in properties that we weren't in. We just offered. And again, you're on their radar. And if that home care agency slips or they degrades, guess who they're calling? You. And then again, I'm big on socials, right? Um, cover that. So pearls of wisdom as it's 1226. There's so a lot to cover, but again, I'm happy to follow up with you and chat about what you're doing, some of the challenges, suggestions, but three P's, I'm telling you, prep, be prepared, be ready. When we got the call for our first community, the home care community, 2 days before Thanksgiving, decided to shut down. They literally left. And the next thing you know, you're up, Hobbs. And we had 30 assessments to do. You got to be ready. So start preparing now. How am I going to do this? How am I going to staff this? What technology am I going to use? Right. So different brand of one-to-one, way different. Group care. Attend community events. It was so much fun. I'd show up at the community and go, there's Tim again. How's it going? Yep, we're still doing okay, Tim. But if they start faltering, I'll give you a call. That's great. Just wanted to be to support you, mingle with everybody else. Every community usually has socials. They're usually doing something. Attend. Just be around. Be seen. Not pushy. We're here to help. And then do seminars. Hey, would you like to do an educational webinar? They go, sure. They love that. And then do your homework around. This isn't just these ILs. You can go into Del Webb communities, the multi-housing communities. And we don't have enough time, but I can give you a success story. I went to Del Webb where they chose us as a preferred provider. Next thing you know, we had 27 houses in that community. And guess what? There was 1,256 of them. I thought there was a bigger opportunity there. And like I said, a good drill for you could be to build an unsolicited proposal to that community. You listen to the ED. What are their requirements? This is what we can do for you. And just go for it. Why not? What do you have to lose? Team up. Team. Don't go it alone, guys. Pick two other home care agencies that are friends of yours. Team up. Don't go solo. Team up. And we did just that. We had two home care agencies. We partnered and had interagency agreements. And I can explain what it is at another time, make it a whole other topic. But we helped each other. We contracted to each other. Team up. Know the players in that community. Meet them. Understand them. They may refer you in. That happened to one of our communities as well. Resources for you. we built a whole consulting practice around, we call CINCH OS, CINCH operating system. And we have a series of consulting offerings from you're preparing, you're not in, but I want to be ready. I'm in, how do I operate more efficiently? Full boat is community ready. 32 plus templates, service agreements, training, community protocols, anything you can think of. All the things that we needed to do, we make available to you. You know, we love to help. And then Gina's having one. I love this. This is kind of like, oh, blank. I just got this community. What the hell do I do? And we have one of them right now. They're literally thrown in and we're freaking out, you
We have a
know?
couple customers that are like, I got a community, can you help me? I'm like, we can do that, we can help you, yes.
Yeah. So that's a new one we're going to develop. The mastering home, if you click on that link, it goes to share file for you. It has these these pieces. Why Cinch on our that kind of gives you background on us and what we're all, if you want to learn more about us and you can see case studies, you'll see that executive director. We had a podcast with him and so forth. It just has a lot of helpful things. And then my offer is if you'd like a 15-minute with me, I can talk about this a lot. I'm happy to on the house because it just brings us joy, you know? Even I had a customer, one of our customers, George Hyman of Your Choice Senior Care in Alabama, call me just to talk about blow off steam. How, you know, how do I get caregivers to do their job? Tim, they're using your product, but they're not documenting. What do I do? And I said, it starts with culture, George, right? You have standards. You're helping these seniors. Explain to them they need to have everything they've asked for done, and their families need to know it's getting done. They they need to be all part of the team. So we love talking about home care because we did it. And then you know we have a product Cinch that does community care. And if you'd like to use it, fantastic. If you just want consulting, great, because that's what brings us joy. So that there's in the presentation. I wanted to leave more time for a couple of questions, and I don't want to hold you over because we know how home care is. But um, if anybody has a question they'd like to fire at us, please do.
I don't see any question. We will share the deck. We'll show the presentation. And if you were late in the chat box, there's a link to the share file worth